Hey guys, how are you? It's a Monday. It's time for another edition of the Daily Juice podcast here on BettingPros.com. Always being brought to you by BetMGM. My name is Matt Perrault, your host for the last 311 consecutive mornings. We have been here for the Daily Juice podcast. So yesterday we got off kind of a rocky start. We lost our first bet with the Red Sox run line did not come through. Red Sox blew that game. They were leading for almost the entire game, and they blew that. And then the over did not come in for Tampa as they win the game 2-1. It was the only NHL game on the docket yesterday, which is kind of a bummer. So we were 0-2 to start, looking kind of shaky. But then the Knicks came back, and Houston is kind of an automatic bet against until the end of the year. I don't know what the books are going to do. They're getting destroyed by 20 plus points the last two games. We were on both those games. We cashed on both those games. So I don't know what the books really can do. Maybe they're going to put lines like 16, 17. I don't know. There's just no talent on that team. They're shutting down players. They're not playing for anything, and they're taking on teams that are playing for things that are important. So when the Rockets are playing, it's just kind of like an auto fire. And we'll bet against them, and I think the entire betting public will be on against them. And we got 8. I think the closing number was 10.5, and it was everyone cashed. It was never a game in the second half, so that was rough for anybody who was on the other side. The books got destroyed in that game, so not great for us. I'm not crying for the books by any means, but it's just one of those teams at this time of the year. They're done, and they want to go play golf, and they've got other things to go out and do, and they want to go back to their lives, and they don't want to be COVID-19 tested every day anymore. So, I get it. I feel for them, but, we'll take the wins until their season is officially over the next couple of weeks. So, Knicks, good win. I like what the Knicks are doing. More on them coming up here in a couple of seconds. It is a Monday. That means it's time for the Discord bet. We are 4-2 by my count, I believe, on our Discord bet, which is what you guys, it's a crowdsourced bet. We go in the Discord channel and I ask you guys to nominate different bets. And then we take 3 of them and then we go ahead and vote. And if you guys want to be a part of that, the Discord channel is a great place to be. And you can get there by going to bettingpros.com/chat, bettingpros.com/chat, or if you're on YouTube watching this video, you can click the link which is below me here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel, and you guys can get in and be a part of it, and it's a lot of fun. And look, the community we're building is going to be, there's good apples and bad apples. It happens. Hopefully you guys can kind of help, roll with the punches, if you will. I know some people have DM me different things about like, man, the community is growing really fast and we got a lot of new people in there, and sometimes they get the gig, sometimes they don't, but for the most part, we really are happy to have it and really excited to have all of you be a part of the community that we're trying to build here for the Daily Juice and for Betting Pros. And we'll have even more cool things coming down, even more cool opportunities to interact with me and Dan Harris and the rest of the guys at Betting Pros. So, it is entering our 1 year. We're getting close, right? July the 7th or so will be our 1 year anniversary. And it's been a ton of fun. It's just been a wild experience, and I really, really have enjoyed it. And we've loved having BetMGM along for most of the months. And you guys know the offer. It's a $20 bet to win $100. And for any event, you can bet $20, and any event you win $100 in free wagers, regardless of the outcome of that wager. It's available when you use that promo code JUICE100 when you sign up for a new account with BetMGM. It's available in New Jersey, Colorado, Indiana, West Virginia, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Virginia, and the great state of Iowa. Okay, so let's get to the Discord bet here because it's your bet. And so the options were Warriors +3, Dodgers money line, or this bet, the Islanders taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Well, why? Because everyone's going to bet against the Buffalo Sabres until we can't bet against them anymore, right? There aren't, incredible trends to get into. There's not a million different stats to point out, except that Buffalo's really bad, and the Islanders are -300 on the money line. The Islanders are 7-2 in their last 9 games, straight up playing on 1 day's rest. They are 15-5 in their next game following a win over their last 20 games. They've been playing really good hockey lately, 21-10 over their last 31 games. And against the Islanders, the home team is 4-0 in the matchups, which could maybe lead to Buffalo, but the favorite is 7-0 in the last 7 meetings. And, well, the Sabres are not favored in this game. It's a big number here, but it is plus money on the puck line for the New York Islanders, given the way that they play and that they haven't been as explosive offensively as you may would have liked for a team that you were going to go ahead and back on the puck line. But I think this is going to be a relatively easy walk in the park. I would be pretty surprised to see Buffalo have anything here. They're down to, 5 more games before they're done. It is a 7 o'clock Eastern time start. So far, the Islanders are 6-0 with 2 games remaining. Actually, they have 2 games left. These next 2 days, we could bet against the Sabres next 2 games. They'll play Monday, Tuesday, but the scores have been 3-1, 3-0, 3-2, 5-2, 5-2, 5-2. All numbers point towards another puck line win for the New York Islanders, who aren't great on the road, by the way. They're 11-12-2 on the road, but in the games played at Buffalo, 3-0, 3-1, the 2 finals with the games played at Buffalo. So hopefully we'll take another 3-1 victory here. Maybe you want to bet the under as well. Maybe a good play here for this at 5.5. But puck line, Islanders, plus 106 is the number I got tonight. Plus 106 for the Islanders on the puck line, taking on the Buffalo Sabres for bet number 1. Bet number 2, let's talk about the New York Knicks at Memphis. Back-to-back, okay? Back-to-back. I get it. Memphis is favored by 3. This team, the New York Knicks, is something, though. Over the last 10 games, the New York Knicks are 9-1 against the spread. They are 4-1 over the last 5. They've covered their last 2 games, and they are 41-22-1 against the spread this year, and they're catching points. Now, Memphis isn't bad either, okay? They're 39-24. It's really good against the spread, but over the last 5, they're 2-3, 6-10 over the last 10, and at home, they're 19-12. It's okay. On the road, the Knicks are 20-11. And yes, they are on a back-to-back, but if you look at the standings as to what's going on with the NBA here, it is really interesting to watch how many of these teams are close together. Knicks, Hawks, Heat, Celtics. Celtics are now the 7 seed after losing last night to the Portland Trailblazers in a crazy game, but they lost. They may have lost both their stars for a couple of games as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown cracked legs together late in that game and went right to the locker room with under a minute to play. So we'll see what the status of those guys are going forward. But the Knicks have a 1.5 game lead on Atlanta for the 4 seed, and they've got a 1.5 game lead on Miami also for the 4 seed. But we're talking about 4 teams with 3 spots to avoid the play-in tournament, and we're going to come right down to the wire here as to who gets in. So every game, the playoffs basically start now for these teams. They can't rest. They can't sleep. They can't take a night off. It can't be like, it's on a back-to-back. Doesn't matter. I think the Knicks might win this game outright. I will sprinkle on the money line, but the official play, I'm taking Knicks plus 3 and look to ride this wave where the Knicks have been just crazy. Only 1 game dating back to the 3rd of April have the Knicks failed to cover, and that was the game against Phoenix where they lost by 8 at home after they had covered for 12 straight games, and then now they're on another streak. They picked right back up again, laying 4 against Houston, laying 4 against Chicago, won by 19, laying 10 against Houston, they won by 25. So, doing well, now catching points here. As a dog against Toronto, against Atlanta, against New Orleans, against Dallas, against New Orleans, they have covered their last 5 times, 5 games, catching points. So this is just the Knicks in a must-win situation, in a crucial situation. For Memphis, they're playing for a lot as well, but they're pretty well stuck in the play-in tournament. I mean, they're not going to catch the Dallas Mavericks. They're 3.5 games behind them. They're 3.5 games behind the Portland Trailblazers. And yeah, the Golden State Warriors are right behind them, but in all honesty, it doesn't really matter. I mean, okay, I guess you could say if you're the 9 seed versus the 8 seed, you win 1 game to advance versus winning 2 games to advance. But, 8-9, kind of interchangeable. But I'm not saying Memphis doesn't need to win. but I think the Knicks are playing for a little bit more. They're hotter right now, and I'm going to take the Knicks +3 here tonight and probably sprinkle the money line as well. One more NBA play to talk about, and that is, well, those Warriors that we were discussing. The Warriors are on the road at New Orleans for 2 games, back-to-back games here on the road, and these are must-wins for me with my Golden State Warriors over 36.5 wins. They need to win these 2 games. New Orleans is favored by 3. Line opened up at 2.5. Money came in here on New Orleans. The Golden State Warriors are 26-38 against the number this season. The New Orleans Pelicans are 40-24. Over the last 10 games, though, New Orleans is just 5-5, including 1-4. This is to the over. Excuse me, not against the spread. Excuse me. This is over-under situation. So the over, New Orleans is 40-24. The Warriors to the over are 26-38. But over the last 5 games, New Orleans is 1-4 to the over. Warriors are 2-3. 5-5 over the last 10 and 4-6 over the last 10 for Golden State to the over. Okay, the total of this game is 236.5. My guess is, and this is just a guess, but my guess is you guys are going to get a better number than I had, because I think the public comes in and says New Orleans, Golden State, Steph Curry, and Zion Williamson hammer the over. So I get it at 236.5. I think you guys are going to get a better number. But when you look at the way these teams have played over the last 2 weeks, so for the Warriors, they didn't cover for 4 straight games. Then they covered 2 straight against Dallas and Minnesota, more because of who they played. They gave up 133 to Dallas and gave up 126 to Minnesota. That's unacceptable. They scored 113 against Houston, and the under came in by 33 points in their last game. In the games before that, the totals were 233, 228.5, 240.5, and 226.5, and the under came in on all those games. On the other side, against Minnesota, same situation here for New Orleans. They won the game, but they gave up 136 points to the T-Wolves. Over cleared it by 37 points. But the game before that, 232.5 under, 229.5 under, 229.5 under, and 228.5 under. Under by 10, 6.5, 3.5, and 28.5 against Oklahoma City, Denver, the Clippers, and San Antonio. Look, I know the natural inclination in here is to say, okay, these 2 teams play, we're going to go play the over. But these are playoff games. In particular for the Warriors, these are playoff games, and they talked about it being playoff games. I don't think this is just going to be, bombs away at all costs. I think this is actually going to be, a pretty good basketball game, and I think we could see a higher scoring game, but I don't think 236.5. I don't know. I think we're probably looking at a game, somewhere in like the 114, 112 range, like somewhere in there. It's going to be tight, okay? I'm not saying that we're not going to be counting free throws coming down to the end, saying, can we get this under? But both these teams over the last couple of weeks have been playing games consistently to the under while the public comes in and bets the over, and the books know this. So the books are juicing it up a point or two because they already know the public's going to come in here and bet the over and drive it up even higher. So call it a Steph Curry tax, call it a Zion tax, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. This number is high. It's really high at 236.5. So to me, I think this is a number where we go under, and hopefully you guys get even a better number coming up tomorrow, like this morning, when you guys are listening to the podcast. All right, so we went 2-0 in the player props yesterday. We got the Joel Embiid over and the Derrick Rose over for points relatively easily. So we bounced back after an 0-3 day a couple of days ago to go 2-0 in the props. So that's we're 8-3 over the last 11 prop bets for us. So we will have 2 of those going again, and kind of having 2 units in play has been kind of my MO for the last couple of months, really, during the pandemic, and I'm not going to stop now. I like it. It's a good number. It's a good monetary number. I'm comfortable where I'm at bankroll-wise by going ahead and committing that every night. So we're going 2 player props, quarter unit each, coming up in the Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat to get into the Discord channel. That will be happening later on. Everyone wants to know, like, when's Matt going to drop the props? Normally, it just depends on the day. Most days, it's between 1 and 2 o'clock Pacific time, between 4 and 5 Eastern. Most days, okay? That's a ballpark. Some days are earlier, some days are later. but that's the ballpark as to where I'm going to be for the player props. When you guys are looking for the player props, good ballpark sense to kind of jump in and ask somebody, hey, has he posted the player props yet? If it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, ask. If it's 2 o'clock Eastern, don't ask. Okay? Don't ask. That's just not... No, it's just not. I'm still on the radio. I'm still on the air. Okay? So let's not do that. 2 o'clock Eastern, I'm still doing my radio job. So, not that. But we have to do that. Okay? So the plays, the Discord bet is puck line. Islanders over the Sabres. We're going Knicks +3 on the road at Memphis. I don't hate a money line play there either. And we're going under 236.5 for the Grizzlies and, for the Pelicans and the Warriors. Excuse me. Pelicans and the Warriors under 236.5 tonight. Half unit on all three bets here for a Monday's Pushing the Odds. No, Monday's Daily Juice. Sorry. See? Talking radios. Sorry. Excuse me. I've never done that. That's the first time I've ever done that. That's pretty good. First time I've ever screwed up my radio show with my podcast. I apologize. The Daily Juice podcast here on BettingPros.com. We are brought to you by BetMGM. We are back each and every single morning. My name is Matt Perrault. You can follow me on Twitter @SportsTalkMatt every morning. It's the Daily Juice.